highlighting the different topics or the different types of questions you can see when it comes to circles, when the test is asking you to find the area or circumference of a circle. Once again, you should memorize these formulas. Once again, they will not give you the formulas, so you have to actually know most of the formulas. And the area for a circle is pi r squared. Right? Now, once again, don't try to go ahead and try to multiply pi as 3.14 times a number to try to get that number. In the question, if it does state use pi as 3.14, you can go ahead and do that. If not, more than often you'll see the answer directly in the pi form. So the formula for the area of a square is pi r squared, and then of course for the circumference of the formula is 2 pi r, or you might see another way, which is just pi times d, which stands for the diameter, right? Here's a radius, the radius times 2 is just the diameter, so it's the same thing, pi d for circumference, and then pi r squared for the area of a circle. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at a very simple example. I can just go ahead and draw something right now. So let's just start with the basics and say, hey, here's the radius, and this is 3 over here. R is equal to 3. What is the area of this circle over here? Once again, plug into your formula pi r squared. R is 3, so the value 3 is squared. So 3 squared is 9. 9 times pi is simply 9 pi. And very often you'll see the answer as in the pi symbol, so it's 9 pi. Let's go ahead and switch it up a bit and let's try the circumference of a circle instead. So what happens here, 2 pi r. I like to use pi d, but let's go ahead and do 2 pi r. The radius is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times pi, 6 pi. So the circumference for this, so this is the area, and the circumference for this is 6 pi. Okay, so you should be very familiar doing these kinds of questions. I can show it to you another way, where instead of the radius, they give you the diameter, and let's say the diameter is 10. Okay, make sure you know what you're seeing. If it's a radius, it's a radius. If it's a diameter, what do you have to do? You always have to divide it by 2 when you're looking for the area. So the diameter is 10. The radius will be, what's half of 10? 5. So the radius is 5. 5 squared times pi, and that's just 25 pi. So the area is equal to 25 pi. If we go ahead and solve the circumference for the circle over here, d is actually given to us. D is equal to 10, so I'll go ahead and use this pi times d, 10 pi. So there you go. Circumference is equal to 10 pi. All right, this is a very simple kind of problem. You won't see this on the exam, but let's go ahead and try to do some questions that will actually show up on the exam. You're very likely to see one of these types of questions that we're about to review right now on the exam. Over here, you'll see some kind of question, and inscribed in the first figure over here, which is a rectangle, we have 2 inscribed circles. And as you can see, these 2 parts are not shaded, and this part over here is actually shaded. And the question will typically ask, what is the area of the shaded region, or what is the area of the unshaded region? Let's go ahead and solve this problem. Let's just say we want to find out what is the shaded region, right? So what is the shaded region over here? Now, these 2 circles are connected. How do you approach this problem? Okay, well, let's see. I know that the bigger circle has a radius of 3, and my smaller circle has a radius of 1. Okay, let's just see what I can work with now, okay? So I do know that the radius is 3, and the radius is 1 for here. What can I do? Well, let's see. I can find the diameters of both the circles first, and I'll tell you why I'm doing that. The diameter of this would be 6. D is equal to 6. And for here, the diameter would be 2, right? What have I just done here? Look at this. It's a straight line across, right? Isn't this the length? Isn't this the same thing as this? So what happens if I just go ahead and add up my diameter of the first circle and second circle? So 6 plus 2 is 8. I know that the length of this is 8. It's very important that you have to go ahead and try to use these numbers that they provide you with to your advantage. So if they give you the radius, you want to try to find out the diameter, which will probably give you the length or the width or something. You have to go ahead and use these numbers they give you to try to solve for something. And I do understand one thing, is that I have to basically find the area that's shaded. So I basically want to approach it in 2 steps. Okay, I want to find out the area of the entire thing. Okay, and then I'll just subtract it from the unshaded regions, right? So how do I do that? Well, I'm getting close, right? So here's my length of 8. Now, what is my width? My width is not 8, okay? Be very careful. What exactly is my width? Notice this circle is not touching the bottom over here, but this circle is, right? This circle is touching all the top sides and the corner side over here. If this is the radius, this is also the radius, is it not? This is also 3. Yes? Radius is 3. Well, you know what? The diameter is 6. The diameter is 6. So guess what? This over here is actually my width. So here's 6. So now, you're getting somewhere. You can very easily find the area of the rectangle now. You know the length. You know the width. 8 times 6 is 48. So I know that basically I will have to subtract some number from the 48. Okay, and now finally, the last step what you have to do is find the area basically of the unshaded regions. So over here, my diagram looks a little bit messy, but hopefully you remember that my radius is 3 over here, my radius is 1. I can very simply find the area of both the circles over here. So how do you find that? Area is equal to pi r squared. The radius is 3, so 3 squared. Pi is equal to the area. 3 squared is 9, so I have 9 pi. Right? So my area for the first circle is 9 pi. And for the second circle, it's A is equal to pi 1 squared. 1 squared is simply 1. 1 times pi is simply pi. So now I have to add both of the areas of the circles. So 9 pi plus 1 pi is simply 10 pi. So I know that this area plus this area is equal to 10 pi. This is my unshaded region. This over here is the entire rectangle. So if I go ahead now and subtract 48 minus 10 pi, this will essentially give me the area that's shaded, the portion that is shaded in the figure, and this is the answer choice. This is the answer you would see on the exam. So be very careful and do a few practice problems of these types of questions because usually they tend to show up. Let's go ahead and take a look at number 2 now. Number 2, we have a square in this case and a semicircle. So let's see. Well, the question is asking you, okay, let's find the area and then also let's find the circumference. So we'll have 2 answers, okay? How do you find the area of this? I have the diameter, which is 8. Great thing, this is a square. So the length over here is 8. I also know that this is 8, this is 8, and this is 8. Fantastic. Now I'm going to go ahead and move over to my semicircle over here. Okay. Here's my diameter. I know I want to find the area of the semicircle. Once again, the area of a circle is pi r squared. What's the radius? If my diameter is 8, the radius will be half of that, which is 4. So 4 squared is 16. So I get 8 is equal to 16 pi. Okay? The area is 16 pi, but don't be tricked. Area is equal to 16 pi of the entire circle. We don't have an entire circle over here. This is a semicircle. It's half of a circle. So if it's half of a circle, you have to divide it by 2. Please do not forget that step, okay? So if I divide that by 2, my area is actually 8 pi. So I know that this is 8 pi. And I know that my area of a square is, what's the formula for area squared? Side squared. So my side is 8. 8 squared is 64. So very simply, I can now add it up. 64 plus 8 pi is my area. So 64 plus 8 pi, and that would be the answer that you see on your exam. Let's go ahead and try to do the circumference now, okay? I think it's very important to kind of also understand the circumference because a lot of students tend to get this question wrong, and I'll tell you why. So, how do we find the circumference? The circumference of the square is pretty simple. You just add up 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8, okay? So 8 times 4 is basically 32, plus we have to go ahead and find the circumference of this. How do you find the circumference of this? Well, now we can use our circumference formula. Since I have my diameter, I'll go ahead and use the formula. Circumference is equal to pi d, okay? And pi times my diameter, it's 8 pi, okay? So my circumference is 8 pi. Are we done yet? We're not done yet. Remember, once again, this is a semicircle. This formula is for the whole circle. So actually, I have to divide it by 2, right? I have to half it. So what's the answer? It's 4 pi. So it's going to be 32 plus 4 pi. And that is your circumference, okay? Make sure and don't forget, if you're dealing with semicircles, you have to divide it by 2, whether you're trying to find the area of a semicircle or if you're trying to find the circumference of a semicircle. Oftentimes also a lot of students forget that they have to account for this line over here. Make sure that you have to understand that the circumference formula is only giving you this over here. It's not giving you this. So make sure, a lot of times you'll see a semicircle with a rectangle, but a lot of students will forget to calculate this area as well. So don't forget that. Let's go ahead and do one last problem over here on this board over here. So on this question over here, we see we have 4 semicircles. Here is a square, and the length over here is 12. The question states AB is equal to BC is equal to DE is equal to EF. And I can safely assume that this over here is equal to 6. And this over here is equal to 6. Therefore, I can also assume that my radius of my semicircle labeled A is 6. And so is for B and C and D. So how do I go ahead and do this? The question is asking you, find the area of the shaded region. All right, not a problem at all. Let's go ahead and try to do this. I know that they want the area. I will use my area formula, pi r squared. What is my radius for each of these? My radius is 6, so 6 squared times pi is equal to the area. That's area is equal to 36 pi. Once again, don't forget. Can I just leave it like that? No, I have to divide it by 2. Area is equal to 18 pi. Are we done yet? I have 18 pi over here for this one, but I have 4 more. So what do? I simply multiply it by 4, so 18 times 4. 8 times 4 is 32, and then I'll get 72 pi as my answer. And that is your answer. Okay, so go ahead and try to get a feel for these different types of questions. Obviously, there are other variations of questions that you'll see when it comes to the specialized high school test, testing you on area and circumference of a circle. But these are 3 good questions for you to understand and also practice. Thanks for watching the video. Please be sure to check out our book on Amazon, the Specialized High School Test Prep book. This book comes with 5 full-length exams with answer explanations along with a manual to go ahead and better prepare you for the exam. You will find the link on the video or in the description above. Have fun studying!